to SveNFL.
What is up, y'all?
This is, I don't even remember how to do this. Jonathan Rollins,
And I think I'm still skipping Sarah.
two Americans living in Sweden, talking about football.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about the football. Baby.
Yo, it's been so long, I
it's been
forgot.
too
You know
long.
what? Not only has it been long since we did it, it's been really long since we've been side by side.
That's
So
right.
it's a whole different strategy of all of this stuff when we're side by side.
Oh,
Whatever, the technicals.
We up in the sound lounge, y'all.
We up in the sound now. Skiff is here.
I'm here.
Skiff has access to the soundboard.
I do.
And we are glad to be back. We are glad to be back. POP, hold it down. Tell my mama I
You
love
call
her.
me champ.
Yeah, shout out to Champ.
I just saw him.
Did you really?
Great segue. I just saw, Sergeant Segway is at it, man.
Let's go.
I just saw Champ. I just came back from the States not too long ago.
Yeah.
Finally got over my jet lag, but we had the main reason we went was for a family reunion. Mm-hmm. And Bash, my son, really wanted to go. It was his idea. He said, I want to go to the U.S., but I want to go and be there without you. Those are his words.
Right.
And I was trying to figure out how to make it happen.
So you just dropped him off on the side of the freeway
Yep.
and said,
Fine family.
"Figure it out."
Figure it out, boy. No, I didn't use that technique. I didn't do the Annie route. I put him in a basket and I put him on the Norwood. Went to the U.S. To Maryland, hanging out with my sister, and then at the end of that part of the trip, we went to Tennessee to the family reunion at this big ass cabin. My mom organized this whole thing.
Which part of Tennessee?
Like an hour outside of Knoxville. So still on the east, because Tennessee's broken up into both time zones. I didn't know that. But we're still in the east time zone. And then we had this big ass reunion. There was like 90 people there. And we just kind of grilled and swam and talked shit, play cards. You know how it is. Great time. And then shout out to my brother. He was there. Shout out to Champ. But then when I left, Bash stayed with my mom. And they went back to Florida. So I didn't even get to go to Florida. I was just only in Maryland and then Tennessee.
Nice.
And then Bash stayed with my mom, and they just got back yesterday.
That's cool.
Yeah. But at the reunion, one part of it was each branch of the family. It's all broken up to my great-grandmother's, like the beginning, that they go that far back in the family tree. And that generation, they were all from the 1920s-ish or 19-teens, you know what I mean? And all of her siblings are like the top of the family tree. So each branch from all five of them came up and spoke. And when my branch, the part of the family, when we were up speaking, Bash asked for the microphone. My son,
Wow.
in front of the family, asked me for the microphone because I spoke, and everybody's like, "Tell some jokes. This is a comedian. Tell jokes." I was like, "Y'all can't afford me, you know." And stuff like
What did he say?
that. So when I gave him the mic, he said, "Hi, I'm Sebastian. This is my dad, and they call me Bash, and I'm really glad that we came here. This was my idea, and I'm really glad to meet everybody. I wanted to get to know my black side, and now I'm really happy to get to know everybody." I was over there like,
Oh, I know you were crying.
I was like, "Man, who cutting onions? Who cutting onions in there? Who cutting these onions?"
That's really cool.
It was so sweet, man. And I was just like, I don't know, it was so nice. And then I got a aunt. I had never met this lady. It's like a great aunt, great aunt, something like that. And her name, they call her Lil Smut.
Okay.
That's her nickname.
That's a great nickname.
Her mom's name is Smut. So she Lil
So
Smut.
she Lil Smut. That makes sense.
Really, really dark skinned lady. Really pretty lady, I think. But I guess smut. For those that don't know, smut means like dirty and disgusting. She came up to Bash. She's like, she now calls him Black King. She's like, "Hey, Black King." I think in another generation she would have been a stand-up comedian, but she's
Wow.
like 70 years old. Whatever.
That's
so
funny.
she comes up to him and she's like, "You want to get to know your black side? Don't get no blacker than me, baby." I was like, "This is my family, man. This is what you get to see."
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so it was a great summer for me, man. I'm glad to be back, though. Get back into the groove. The fall is around the corner. You know me. I got to run this club. So
Yeah.
back at it, man. How was your summer?
Summer was great. We did go to Florida. Pretty smooth trip this year. No, last year we got fucked in planes and bags and all kinds of shit. But this year was totally smooth. We got there, rented a house right next to the beach. Had tons of family around, of course. My cousin's got like 5 kids, and then I got another cousin who's got 4 kids. And my grandmother came down from Brunswick, Georgia. We celebrated her 97th birthday.
Nice.
Or 96.
What beach?
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine. Okay, nice.
So about 45 minutes south of Jacksonville. And while we were there, Jaguars camp was going on. We had considered, like, hey, we could go check it out. But then we decided that 100 degrees, do I really want to go watch these people practice?
Yeah.
Talking about practice. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck that. Like, I'm not.
What's that point?
I'm sure it's there somewhere, but I just fucking hit it. Oh, there it is.
We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
Not a game.
Jaguars.
Not a
Jaguars
game.
practice.
We're talking about practice.
So we skipped that.
Okay.
And we hung out by the beach instead.
Any Jaguars fans in your family?
Fair weather Jaguar fans. Like they
Isn't
were
that
like,
the only way to be a Jaguars fan?
I think so, yeah. So one of my cousins and his son, like they were like super, super into it when it first started. And then when they sucked, and then they got good for like, remember the one year that Blake Bortles was good?
Then when they went to and lost to the Patriots?
Yeah. They were all in for that year, and then they came back and sucked again. And so they were just like, I'm out. I can't do it. So they're kind of, if the Jaguars got good again, they'd go.
Shout out to my cousin Kojak. They're from that part of the family from Jacksonville. He's a season ticket holder.
Nice.
And he was there for that comeback against the Colts.
Yeah.
He's got a video. He always has it ready. And he showed me the video of them going nuts.
My cousin was there too. The cousin that I'm closest to, she they just randomly said, fuck it, let's go to the game. And everybody that she was there with wanted to leave at halftime. She was like, no.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, we can't leave at halftime. We got to stay. Like, what if something happens? They were like, you're down by fucking 30-something points or 27 points.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. It was a great trip. And we came back about a week ago, and then we went out to the countryside somewhere near Osthammer.
The East Hammer?
The East Hammer, which I mixed up a few years ago and thought it was Oosthammer. I thought it was Cheese Hammer. I thought it was Cheese Hammer.
Packers fans?
Anyway, dude, I'm back. I'm fucking, like, I feel shot out of a cannon. My brain, it's taken, like you, about a week to get over the jet lag.
Yeah.
But it's all, I have a new set of, kind of rules or routines that I'm trying to settle into that I feel kind of excited about. I feel like I always do this at the end of the summer, like when I come back to work.
Yeah.
How do I switch it up? And I got some shit going on in my brain.
Nice.
As usual.
Well, hey. You got that brain, man.
It don't get no better than that, baby.
That's right. Speaking of that, one of the things that I watched over the summer to get me, like, kind of scratch the football itch. Did you watch this Netflix quarterback show?
Skip. I'm offended at the question. I'm offended that you even thought. I was offended when you asked me in the during the summer. You're like, "Hey man, there's this thing." And I'm halfway through it. What are you talking about? Of course, I watched it as soon as it came out.
I forgot I already asked you that.
I'm a tape head, man. No, I'm not.
We just finished. It took so what happened was that normally I would have watched it by myself, but the whole family decided, or I said, "Hey, why don't we all 4 of us watch the first episode? And if you guys hate it, then I'll just watch it by myself." But they loved it. And so it's taken us all for all 4 of us to be together. You know what I mean? So we finally just watched the last episode last night.
Oh, okay.
And oddly enough, my whole family more or less fell in love with Kirk Cousins.
It's so funny
because he's such a dork.
Yeah.
But in a cute way.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, he's like Mormonly annoying. It's Mormonly annoying, man. It's like, I know I made that up, but I love it.
There is something kind of adorable about him.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to close your eyes and not pay attention to the overtly Christian part of it all.
Yes. It's like, ugh. But yeah, shout out.
Anyway,
I always liked him though.
One of the other funny parts was how Marcus Mariota virtually disappeared from the whole show, in the same way that he disappeared from the Falcons. My family was like, so we just like Mariota's out? Like what? They're not gonna. And then of course they get to the final episode and it's like, oh, there he is. He's on the beach. He's going to the Eagles. It's like, it was very funny.
But it was cool to see that he's married to an athlete. I did like that. I didn't know that as well. I love it when like she gets it or whatever.
You know what else I thought? One of the things that I really liked that I didn't fully understand was about Patrick Mahomes' wife. I feel like
another one married
there's
to
a lot of hate. She gets a lot of hate online for being Patrick Mahomes' wife, I guess. But also she's very feisty.
Yeah, I like it.
She's ride or die.
She's like, what's his name's mom? Zach Wilson's mom.
Yeah. But the thing that I didn't know, first of all, like, I mean, I never understood why people hated her in the first place. But there were a lot of things I learned about her I thought were quite cool. Especially given that I think they met in high school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Imagine you like, and she wasn't into him.
No.
Like he was into her. And eventually she was just like, okay, fine.
I'll give you a shot.
I'll hang out with you.
Yeah.
You know, imagine that you do that and he turns out to be the Patrick Mahomes. That's crazy.
That's dope.
And she owns, like, she was also kind of she played soccer.
All right, she got
part
it too,
of a soccer team now and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. I just think she
Patrick Mahomes, cool. And he seems pretty chill too.
I'm just gonna go after the game. I'm gonna go over and hang out with my friends.
My wife loved making fun of how he says everything twice. Mahomes.
Oh, really?
We're gonna go get this shit. We're gonna go get this shit.
Let's go get it. Let's go get it.
He's
Let's
like
go get it.
Johnny 2 times. Sorry,
Kermit 2 times? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Johnny 2. I just watched that not too long ago. Good fellas.
We're gonna go get the papers. Get the papers.
Patrick 2 times.
Yeah. But yeah, so that one got me through. I saw the first episode of Hard Knocks the other day.
It's out?
Oh, yeah. First episode of Hard Knocks is
slipping.
out. It is a full-on, like,
great. What we need?
It's a full-on Aaron Rodgers grapefruit episode.
Well, last year we had Jared Goff, and they even tried to grapefruit him a little bit.
Yeah, but this is different though, because you have all of the sort of pre-context of Rodgers being framed as a certain kind of person in the media, right? All of these assumptions, we assumed that Aaron Rodgers was one way, and then he kind of had this weird sort of twist where we all thought he was kind of losing his mind.
Bumped his head, yeah.
And now Hard Knocks is looking to sort of twist it back in an interesting way. And his teammates are definitely part of that effort as well. When you watch the show, like one guy at one point just grabs the boom mic and he says, "The media's lying about Aaron Rodgers. This motherfucker's cool as shit." Like they love him. They absolutely love this guy.
I bet. He might turn that team around. But not turn around. They already started turning around.
Yeah, but they might. They
might fall apart. Yeah.
They're certainly more relevant now.
Yeah, but they could implode as well.
It's the Jets. The Jets can always implode. They haven't won a Super Bowl since the moon landing. Oh, did you know that?
No, I did not.
We have in between the Jets winning a Super Bowl and the day right now, August 14th, 2003, the year of our Lord. We have landed on the moon. But there's been moon landings before a Jets' second Super Bowl.
Wow.
I think it was the same year they won the Super Bowl. We landed on the moon a few months later.
Well, so that was one trade that kind of switched up. What other news happened in the NFL? I don't want to bury the lead. I think the most important thing that happened since you and I stopped recording is that it's official. Dan Snyder is gone. While I was in St. Augustine, I was at this farmer's market,
and I saw this guy. He had on a maroon colored T-shirt with the old kind of like the Redskins logo on his shirt, but instead of the Indian in the middle, it just said "Bye, Dan." And I had to go up and talk to him. He was very cool. It was, I think obviously the Washington fans are super stoked.
Yeah.
The team was sold for $6.05 billion to Josh Harris, who is already the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. Magic Johnson is also part of this group somehow. I don't know exactly how, but
I just want to have part of basketball football.
he just wants to get in the game, baby.
He owns the Dodgers.
Oh, that's right. He is part owner of the Dodgers. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I just want to add more of that to my portfolio.
Snyder.
Magic Johnson impersonation.
Snyder was fined $60 million on his way out the door for sexual assault and stealing from the other teams by misrepresenting his income. We had talked about this many times in the past. So we've had so many Dan Snyder scandals that it's easy to forget them all.
Yeah.
He was basically lying about how much money, all the 32 teams, they share revenue. And he was lying about how much money they were making so that which is kind of like, I would not be surprised if I woke up tomorrow and found out that all the other 31 teams were doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
The sexual assault, obviously.
Right.
That whole report, the investigation, that one finally came out.
They kind of, it feels swept under the rug, that part. That, all right, he was sexually harassing people and,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't feel like that really took credit.
Well, you know what it is? Is it like when you look at it, and you can do this if you want, you can if you type in the words like Dan Snyder timeline, like there are like literally like 10 different articles where different places have done this whole timeline of Dan Snyder's shitty run as owner of the Washington Commanders.
I remember when he took over too, man.
And he bought the team for pennies on the dot. I mean, I think it was like $900 million or something like that, and now it's like worth over $6 billion.
I remember he was the cool new owner.
Right, and he was
Dion. I was just gonna say he brings in Dion.
He would go out. He went out. He was the one who went out and got Dion.
He reminded me of like Mark Cuban, the owner that didn't mind stepping out and putting his face in the news or whatever.
Yeah, they obviously haven't really had much playoff success. I mean, he's been terrible. He's sued his own fans at one point.
Why did he sue his fans?
Well, and it says here he sued 125 fans for trying to back out of contracts to purchase season tickets.
What an asshole! What an asshole!
He banned fans from bringing signs to the games, like they would bring like protest signs to the games. He sued Washington City paper for defamation whenever they tried to criticize him. When he couldn't sell out the arena, he just ripped out 10,000 seats from the stadium.
This dude's the worst.
The guy's gotten popped for any number of things. I mean, obviously the worst, to me, the grossest one is this cheerleader thing.
Yeah.
Where they flew the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Where did they go? I think they went to Costa Rica. It was supposed to be for a calendar, and he's got like some sneaky, nasty motherfucker like taking pictures and shooting videos of them changing clothes, and then he asked him to cut together the good bits so that he could send them out to his friends and stuff. He's disgusting. So whatever. I'm not going to go through all the things. You are trash. But he's a horrible human being.
Yeah, man.
And he's gone.
Fuck that guy.
Who knows what this other dude is like? I have no idea, but.
It's a group, so.
I think, he obviously, this Josh Harris, the sort of main guy from the group, I mean, he clearly benefits from not being Dan Snyder. But one of the biggest things that they're going to have to sort of deal with in the near future is that they probably are going to have to change the name again. I don't know if you know this, but, well, for one, the fans hate the name.
Okay, what a surprise.
And two, also not a big surprise, Snyder never cleared the copyrights for Commanders, and somebody else owns it.
Wow.
So they're either going to have to pay for that, or they're going to have to just change it. And there's a lot of indication that there's another change coming. So I would predict that you might actually see a new name for the Washington
Red Tails?
Whatever. I think it'll probably be next year. It's trending Red Wolves.
Red Wolves.
So we'll see.
That's good. I don't mind Red Wolves.
I mean,
I kind of root for them now, man, to kind of get out of just for the fans' sake. I know some Washington fans.
Yeah.
And they've been through it a little bit.
I saw, one of the funniest things I saw when this news came up was a cartoon. I think it was in the New York Times. And it was a guy wearing a Washington jersey standing at the gates of heaven. And the guy who decides whether you get in or not, who's that? St. Peter?
Peter, yeah.
Right. Says to him,
from Family Guy.
He's looking at the book and he says, it says here that you were supposed to go to hell, but since you're a Washington fan, we decided to let you in on time served. I was like, that's pretty good.
There's a few fan bases that can get that too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Falcons
might
would
be
qualify.
Dolphins might.
For those of you who crave this chaos, which is obviously going to go away to a certain degree, don't worry. There'll be more coming. I think who leaked the Jon Gruden emails is probably the next big thing. Jon Gruden, for a long time, was kind of the only casualty of the Dan Snyder investigation. Like in the midst of this investigation of Dan Snyder, somehow these Gruden emails came out of nowhere. Racist, sexist, all kinds of stuff. But Gruden is suing the NFL. And reporters are starting to dig around, and it appears that the answer to who leaked these emails is leaning in the direction of Roger Goodell and Dan Snyder themselves. like that Snyder gave the emails to Goodell because Goodell has like a thing against Gruden and Goodell hate each other.
Oh.
Kind of, which ironically is sort of like the old Al Davis, what was his name? Was it
Tagliatelle?
Tagliabue?
Tagliabue. And there was another guy, too.
It was the guy. It was Roselle.
Yes.
It was Roselle.
Okay.
It was Roselle and Al Davis were the ones who hated each other. Anyway, that story is ongoing. I think it will provide some very interesting information as it develops, but I'll just kind of leave it where it is for now. Anybody wants to go poke around, you go poke around.
Yeah.
One of the other interesting...
Does he run that camp still?
No, he's working with the... He's
like a consultant.
He is working with the Saints.
Okay.
They brought him in as an outside consultant to work with Derek Carr.
Okay. So he's not doing this with his mouth. One of the other interesting stories that caught my eye, ex-Giants wide receiver Homer Jones was the inventor of the touchdown spike. Oh, wow.
Passed away this summer at the age of 82. Damn. The first player to spike the football after a touchdown.
Wow.
You the real MVP.
Right?
Yeah, man.
I mean, you never really think about it, but it's like...
the ball into the ground.
It's got to come from somewhere, right? Somebody did it first, right?
Did he get a penalty?
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, there he is. Look at him. Old school.
Oh, he carrying the ball horribly in that picture. He's going to fumble.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of high and tight.
But it says Homer Jones had a unique combination of speed and power and was a threat to score whenever he touched the ball.
Shout out to Homer Jones.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to him. Doing the fucking spike, bro.
What did it say he first spiked when?
Good question. Let's see. Nay. Where the fuck did he go? There he is. What's the story behind
First spiked the football, 89-yard touchdown catch, 1965. His first score. So he probably was working on that shit.
He was just like, this is it, bro.
I finally did it. Because, what's his name? Waddle has a popular celebration now because, it's pretty obvious. You know what I mean? It's obviously his thing. And he was ready.
Oh, they have a quote from him. They asked him about it. He said, I always said that when I made my first touchdown, I was going to throw the ball in the stands. But they changed the rules in the offseason to a $500 fine for throwing the ball into the stands. As I crossed the goal line, my intention had always been to throw the ball up into the stands, but I thought about the $500 and I just threw it into the ground. So that's...
Wow! It wasn't even thought out. It was just like, oh, stop!
$500. It was like he felt $500 falling out of his pocket. Like, no!
Woo! His team is, you almost threw it, didn't you?
Because back then in 1965,
Yeah,
a player losing $500, that shit mattered.
Man.
That
He's
was
man,
like,
I got my janitor job.
that might be my salary for a month.
Taking half my goddamn salary. And back then, they played 14, 13 games or something like that.
Yeah.
No, man.
The other story that caught my eye was the thing. I don't know if we talked about this months ago. The Chiefs-aholic bank robbing story just got weird. So there's a fan, a very well-known fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, they call him Chiefs-aholic, and he shows up to the games dressed. He's got on a Chiefs jersey, obviously, but he wears a wolf mask. Okay, like a werewolf mask.
All right.
Everybody knows him. He's got his own Twitter account. People tweet at him, all this stuff. He's very, very famous.
Okay.
Anyway, he tweeted like, okay, I'm getting in the car, driving to Houston. He would go to the away games. He was on his way to Houston because they were playing the Texans. And then the Chiefs fans who traveled to the game were like, hey, where's Chiefs-aholic? We can't find, like, he's not here. He's not tweeting. We don't see him in the stands. And then out comes this story 2 days later from I think it was in Oklahoma or something, where it was like, man wanted for bank robbery. And when they released the video footage, it was Chiefs-aholic. It was like the guy, he had the same mask on, but he didn't have the Chiefs jersey on.
Okay.
But all the Chiefs fans were like, wait a minute, we know that guy. That's Chiefs-aholic.
They snitched?
So he was on the run for quite a while.
What?
And then they caught him. And they said, okay, well, he made bail. And they said, you have to come. He went to his pretrial hearing. They gave him an ankle bracelet. He made bail. And then he didn't show up for trial. And so they went to wherever the ankle bracelet was, and they just found it on the side of the road. Dude was in the wind. Gone.
And it was the guy.
It's the guy.
It wasn't an imposter.
That's the Chiefs-aholic guy.
Why would you do that when everybody knows who you are?
But they eventually caught up with him, and he's in jail now.
Wow.
Great story. Great story.
Wow. That's better than your boy, former Bulldog that was DeAndre
Baker. Yeah, he's gone quiet.
What?
It's pretty crazy.
Crazy.
Another crazy story. This is not even a long one. This is like, I learned over the offseason, I mean, this might be one of the more fascinating sliding doors moments. The Eagles essentially dodging a bullet last season apparently declined a deal to sign Russell Wilson. I was like, whew. Can you imagine?
I tried to watch him in the preseason game. They played him a few drives.
Yeah.
Is he broken? I don't know. I wasn't really that. I was waiting to see because Sean Payton will figure it out.
Sure. We'll see. Sean Payton is like busy digging his own foot out of his mouth after trying to talk shit about Nate Hackett. That was an interesting story.
What happened when Nate Hackett was
that's
trash.
been like the local. I know, but so obviously we all know that Nate Hackett was a terrible head football coach.
Yes.
But Sean Payton said the quiet part out loud. He sort of broke the code of coaches. Like, coaches don't normally criticize other coaches. Yeah. And he released a statement a few weeks ago where he said, it's taken some time to undo all the things that were done last season. When I look around, it may have been one of the worst coaching jobs that I've ever seen in NFL history.
We all agree.
Everybody agrees with that, but he said it to a reporter into a microphone, and it was very public.
Good.
And,
he's getting older now, huh?
And it caused a big thing, and everybody reacted to it. So, of course, the media ran straight to Jets camp. And Aaron Rodgers, they asked for his comments, and he was like, well, Nate Hackett's a great guy. Da, da, da. And he did the Will Smith thing. He said, I think Sean Payton needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth.
Oh.
He said that.
Keep my coach name.
Yeah. And then, of course, like 24 hours later, Sean Payton is like, I shouldn't have said that. I made a mistake. He's backtracking. So now everyone's got, what is it, week 5?
Oh,
I think they play each other week 5 or something. Like, so
Sean Payton's going to destroy them.
I'm telling you, this is going to be the narrative for, like, that's going to, just get ready for it.
It's right up their alley, too, man. They always had a really good defensive personnel.
Yeah.
And then he just worked magic on the offensive side. And it feels like it's set up like that again, man. It's like Saints West. That's what the Broncos are going to be. But we'll talk about that when we go into details.
Totally.
Of the season.
Yeah, I mean, there are other like crazy things that happen, but I thought it would be more interesting for us to kind of spend our first episode back kind of looking into, there's been a fair amount of movement in the NFL. Like who's, some people you may, if you're a casual watcher, you might be like, what? What is he? Why is he wearing that jersey?
Yeah.
Is Baker Mayfield a Tampa Bay Buccaneer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
Baker Mayfield's going to turn that team around, man.
Yeah, we'll
Glad
see.
you mentioned that. That was my next topic. How Baker is going to get the Bucs to the Super Bowl. But let's go through.
I cannot tell you how glad I am that my Falcons get to play Baker Mayfield twice a year.
They got a clip of what Baker Mayfield had to say at his last press conference.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back though.
It's gonna be
White Gino.
White Gino.
Watch out for the White Gino. Oh my God.
White Gino's gonna do it.
So we can go through this.
We call him White Gino.
Let's call him White Gino.
You the real MVP.
White Gino.
Let's go, White Gino.
Let's go. All right, what's the change?
We can go through. Let's start with quarterbacks. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, Aaron Rodgers is now a New York Jet.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is a New Orleans Saint. Jimmy G.
That might work out, man.
I agree. I'm a little concerned about the Derek Carr working out in New Orleans kind of thing. Jimmy G is now a Raider. Exactly. Silence.
Silence speaks volumes.
As mentioned before, Baker Mayfield is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Andy Dalton.
Wait. Who's the last guy you said?
Oh, White Gino. Sorry.
White Gino. Yes, let's go, baby.
Yeah. White Ginger, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, is now a Carolina Panther.
The red water pistol.
He's a Carolina Panther. He's the backup to Bryce Young, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then it really falls off from there. Now we're talking about straight up like Blaine Gabbert and.
Is
Brandon
Chad Henne
Allen.
still there in Kansas City?
I think Chad Henne retired.
Okay, got his ring and got out, huh?
I think he retired.
Good for what a career.
I think he retired. Well, the other interesting thing to keep an eye on, and it's only because, the Colts drafted Anthony Richardson. They drafted Anthony Richardson based on physical traits. The guy's huge. He's very fast. He can run. Yeah. He only played 13 games for the Florida Gators, and he threw a shitload of interceptions. There's a very strong possibility that this kid fails miserably in the NFL. And if he does this season, you get to see Gardner Minshew as his backup quarterback in Indianapolis. That's kind of...
Yeah. I was looking at we talked when we first started podding about black journeyman. That's kind of not that big of a thing, and Brissett is making us eat those words, man, or maybe just stepping out and.
You're right, because he was backing up in Cleveland last year, but now he's with the Washington Commanders. Yeah. And he's behind also an unproven quarterback in Sam Howell. So don't be surprised if you see Jacoby.
He looked all right in the preseason game I was watching. So.
Yeah, you got a bunch of other. You had Marcus Mariota again. He's gone from the Falcons to the Eagles. Mike fucking A. White, New York Jets to your Miami Dolphins. I know you're hyped about that.
I watched him in the preseason game. Not hyped.
Oh, I watched. You know what's funny? I tried to watch. I was like, I'm going to watch the whole Falcons Dolphins game, and I can't
watch a preseason game.
I saw the first 10 minutes, and I was like, this is terrible.
Neither team put starters out. Mike A. White and both coaches are just trying shit.
What I did like, though, for me, from a Falcons perspective, was, and I get it, it's the 2s and the 3s, but the defense looked good. Yeah. And for me, now I know that it was 2s against 2s, and for me, the most significant part about it is that it's been a long time since you could look at a Falcons defense and say they had depth.
Yep.
They got some guys in the 2s and 3s that might actually be able to play. I'm pretty excited about that.
I was going to say that too, man. Falcons are deeper than anybody thought.
For those of you Trevor Siemian fans, he's now a Cincinnati Bengal backup.
But Burrow's hurt now.
Where's Teddy Bridgewater? Oh, he's in Detroit. Shit.
Oh.
Wow, Teddy B.
That's another journeyman.
Taylor Heineke is the backup in Atlanta. You might see him for real. I don't know how good Desmond Ridder is. I have no fucking idea.
I hope they go.
No clue.
They didn't give him a shot last year enough.
They only gave him 4 games.
Yeah, they waited too late.
But they bet on him. I mean, they could have gone out and got Lamar Jackson, but for whatever reason, they're convinced that Desmond Ridder is their franchise quarterback.
Or they don't want to make the same mistake they made with putting all their chips in the quarterback basket.
I think they finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel regarding the salary cap hell that the Falcons have been in for over a decade.
Let's not do this again.
And they were like, fuck this. Let's get out of this. Let's take a look at running backs. Miles Sanders has gone from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
The Lions have made some weird decisions. They shipped off, what's his name? Williams, the one who scored all those touchdowns last year. If you had him in fantasy, you were loving it. He's now with the Saints. DeAndre Swift is now with the Eagles. And the Lions went out and got David Montgomery.
From the Bears, yeah.
And then they picked a rookie. They were the other team that picked a running back in the first round, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lions. Rashad Penny, formerly of the Seahawks, now
Lions
with the Eagles.
might regret that shit, man.
I think they will too. I think they're going to regret it. And I think my man, former Bulldog DeAndre Swift, is going to ball the fuck out in Philly.
What is that?
He's from Philly.
Oof. Okay.
And he's already out there talking shit.
Oh, yeah.
He changed his number to
Cowboys,
0.
Yeah.
And they asked him, said, why'd you switch to 0? And he said, well, that's the number of division championships the Cowboys have won since I've been an Eagles fan. I was like, damn. Let's see. Yeah, Jamal Williams. That's it. Damian Harris from the Patriots is now with the Bills.
Are they going to commit to the running? That's the question.
No, of course not. Josh Allen is going to continue to do more than he should, I think. I don't think Josh Allen trusts. I don't know why he has such an issue with trust, or maybe it's not trust, or maybe it's like
cockiness.
I think he has like a hero complex. Like it's got to be me.
Yep.
He's the main character.
He's always in defensive lineman's
such a main
face.
character.
Yeah.
And there's been some weird sort of kerfuffle between him and Diggs in the offseason that is like Diggs walked out one day during OTAs or whatever.
Hope it falls apart.
Exactly. Deontay Foreman, who did really well for the Panthers when McCaffrey left, is now with the Chicago Bears.
Uh-oh.
Devin Singletary, who was with the Bills, now with the Texans. Who else? Anybody interesting? Most of it starts to fall off from there, in my opinion.
Yeah, when you see Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's anything about Jake Funk?
Jake Funk. Yes, I'm glad you asked. Jake Funk, who has the greatest last name in the history of running backs, formerly with the Los Angeles Rams, will now be doing his funky thing down with the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts, they traded for the funk, the whole funk.
They said, we want the funk. Gotta have the funk. We want the funk.
The whole funk, nothing but the funk.
Yeah, doing it to you in your ear hole. Let's go.
Where did what's his name go? The Cowboys old running back.
Zeke? Still a free agent.
Ooh. Oh, wait. Cook, too.
Dalvin Cook, also still a free agent. So
did they take a knee?
They are black. So
Zeke
no,
has kind of an afro, but good.
Well, I guess it doesn't help. The last play where you saw Zeke, Cowboys lined him up at center, and he got pancaked. Remember that? That was so funny.
The end of an era.
I will never forget that. If that's the last play he ever plays as a Cowboy, it's so
what if that's
funny.
his last NFL play?
That would be hard.
It's like the opposite of David Tyree. David Tyree makes the helmet catch. Crazy. Never plays again.
Yeah.
Zeke gets pushed over.
Unbelievable. There are reports that Dalvin Cook has been at Jets camp.
I saw that.
So
about that. Dolphins, Tyreek Hill was trying to recruit him a little bit. Was talking about how much better the team will be with him. So we'll see.
Let's see. For wide receivers, we got DJ Moore is now with the Chicago Bears.
He made a big splash in a bad pass from
I don't see. I honestly don't know.
Did you see the play?
No, I didn't see him play.
He showed off that speed, man. He got a screen pass that was like kind of a bad and high or whatever, but he took off and left everybody in the dust.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
This
is a big one.
DeAndre Hopkins.
That's a big one. That might shift.
Just when everybody was starting to think the Tennessee Titans were irrelevant, somehow they land.
Like Jaguars going to win that division, and now it's
D-Hop.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, shit. That's
That's the key for Tannehill, is to have a big receiver.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks is another interesting one. He's gone from the Texans to the Cowboys. Brandon Cooks is one of those weird players that, with the exception of last year, I think because he tried to get the Texans to trade him last year. He's like, can you please trade me to a team that wants to win football games? But prior to that, I think he had 5, 6, maybe 7 years in a row with 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah.
It's like, this could be a legitimate upgrade.
In an ideal world, you don't want a loss. You want to win. But if you can't get the win, and sometimes you sell for the tie. A lot of football left to go in the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Thanks, Lovey.
He's out. He's free. Brandon Cooks is free.
He wanted to leave that?
I know. Here's one that I didn't actually notice until yesterday. Jacoby Myers went from the Patriots to the Raiders.
Saw that.
Juju's with the Patriots. Elijah Moore went from the Jets to the Browns.
That might be big, too.
That could be interesting.
Because the Browns sneakily got a good receiver core, man. Mm-hmm. And then the, what do we call this guy?
Which one?
The quarterback of the Browns.
Oh, I know what we call him. We call him where the fuck is he? He is a...
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
He's a habitual line stepper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on out, you rapist!
There he is. Who else? We got Alan Lazard, of course. Rodgers went out and got his buddies. Who else?
DJ Chark is one.
DJ Chark went from the Lions to the Panthers.
What are the Lions doing, man?
I don't know.
I'm starting to... Did they pick anybody up? I'm starting to get concerned about the Lions.
Well, and also the rookie wide receiver who only played like one game last year, Jameson Williams out of Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
He has been suspended for 6 games for betting. That was also an offseason story.
Oh, wow.
So he's not with them for the first 6 games. So I don't know what the fuck. I mean, they still have Amon-Ra St. Brown, but after that, I'm like, I don't know who else they have.
They got their tight end, right? No, they got rid of him. They sent him to the Vikings. Huh?
He went to the Vikings. I don't know who.
What are they? Maybe they just feel like that Ben Johnson is just so good.
I guess, yeah.
Are the Lions gonna fall off?
I'm not. Everyone's booking the Lions to win that division this year. I'm not so sure.
Their defense will have to step up. We'll see.
I'm honestly not so sure.
They're trying to make it hard on our bet.
They are trying to make it hard. My man, former Bulldog Miko Hardman, has gone from the Chiefs to the Jets.
Jets, but then they got rid of Elijah.
Who else? That's about it, really.
Yeah.
The rest of these are like... I mean, do you guys really want to know where Byron Pringle plays now?
Oh, please tell me. He scored not too long ago, right?
What's his name? Braxton Berrios from the Jets to the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's
originally played for the U.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Cole Beasley, nobody cares. DeAndre Carter, nobody cares.
Cole Beasley, did he get the jab?
This is like tight ends. What do we got? Actually, Darren Waller.
Yes.
Has gone from the Raiders to the Giants.
That could be huge for...
If he can stay healthy, that's going to be massive.
Brandon Jones.
That's going to be massive if he can stay healthy.
Gesicki
is a good one. Yeah. Dolphins to the Patriots. Dalton Schultz went from the Cowboys to the Texans, but it won't really matter. Irv Smith Jr., who was kind of like second choice tight end for the Minnesota Vikings, is now with the Bengals. Could actually be a pretty dope move for them, actually.
I feel like the league is changing so much. Mm-hmm. Tight end is starting to matter a little more. Well, this year also there were a lot of rookie tight end. This was like the year of the tight end draft, which we'll get into in a minute. But I don't know. One DB. Mm-hmm. I saw you hovering over DB.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about DBs.
Jalen Ramsey getting hurt.
That's not good.
He's supposed to be back in December, so that could help things out. But that one just was like, really? Just when I was ready. But that was a big one that should have made a big change.
Yeah.
But That was the only big one I could think of a DB switching over.
Yeah. Falcons made a lot of moves in the defense, too. They got Calais Campbell from the Ravens. He's pretty old, though. I think he might actually be the oldest player in the NFL now that Tom Brady's gone.
What about Aaron Rodgers? Is Campbell older than Rodgers?
I think so.
Damn. He went to the U, too.
I think they also got Bud Dupree, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's a lot there.
Yeah. Some coaching changes. Should we talk about that?
Let's do it. Where? Oh, there they are. NFL teams. Yeah, go ahead. Where are we?
Well, I was going to just go through some. I went to Bleacher Report and found the biggest coaching adjustments, and I thought it was a good breakdown of all of them. One of the big ones that we mentioned already, Sean Payton.
Right.
Going to Denver, understanding that he's following up the most chaotic situation that we've seen in recent history, and taking over for. And it might be a big change, man. They might take a big jump quickly, I think, with Sean Payton, who's considered this mastermind of coach. He'll get to show what he's got. With Russell Wilson, is Wilson done? There's so many questions. It's a decent defense over there. Maybe they just needed to plug in a coach. We'll see.
I think I agree with you. What I do think they needed is that they needed to plug in somebody who wasn't going to be the quarterback's best friend.
Right.
And that was the problem with Nate Hackett, I think.
Yeah.
And I respect that
the quarterback, the coach shouldn't be grapefruiting.
No. And he was the whole time he was there. And when you see him on Hard Knocks, you can tell that Nate Hackett is probably better off as a coordinator than a head coach.
Or as a quality control coach. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but someone who's there to be like to motivate.
Yeah, or quarterback's coach. Yeah.
And he likes to do it in that more positive way, which I totally respect.
Yeah.
You know, nobody likes these fucking douchebags who just yell at people all the time. But yeah, they needed a grown up in the building, and Sean Payton is that. He doesn't give a fuck what people think about him. So
yeah, and he's gotten results. Then we got to go on, speaking of grapefruits, to your man.
Hey, I didn't bring this up. You brought this up. Okay?
Todd Monken is going over to the Ravens, and this might be just what Lamar Jackson needed.
Totally.
They get away from Greg Roman, and they go into this pass-oriented offense to show off this guy's arm.
Right.
The dude can play, and he can do more than just make people miss in the open field. He's a quarterback, and he can throw the ball, too. So.
And I'll just point out, because I know a little bit about Todd Monken, being a Georgia Bulldogs fan.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who comes in as the offensive coordinator of the Georgia Bulldogs and takes a walk-on quarterback, a 0-star recruit, Stetson Bennett, and leads that team to back-to-back national championships.
Yeah, but the rest, I mean,
they had a great defense.
I was going to say the recruiting classes.
I know that, but I'm just saying he did that thing that, this is what this is what they always give Shanahan credit for. He doesn't need an elite quarterback.
So true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is one of those guys. He wins with his brain. He wins with scheme.
Yeah.
And you give him someone as talented. This guy's never coached anybody as talented as Lamar Jackson.
You're shortchanging Stetson Bennett a little bit. I want you to pump the brakes, man.
Well,
we don't know his ceiling.
That's true.
He's 40 years old. We'll see.
Don't get me started on Stetson.
Then we got Nathaniel Hackett. Is bringing he's rejoining his former quarterback Aaron Rodgers for the Jets, and he was hired to Denver to try to get Rodgers there,
right?
But wasn't enough last year. So we'll see what happens there. Last year made me have a disgusting taste in my mouth for this guy. But maybe joining Rodgers might be what he needs. But it could just make it where if he's such a pushover, Rodgers being so stubborn, it might fuck up the whole chemistry of the team. Those young receivers.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Did you have more to say about that?
Well, it's just like I feel like I've only watched one episode of Hard Knocks, and I feel like it's already started to influence the way I think about the Jets. It's so that show, like it really does. It really does leave you the impression that this experiment is going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, that's what it's there for. But it really does make you think like this is going to work.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Because at the beginning of the season, we thought Hard Knocks was some bullshit, but then the Lions turned it around.
Watch the first episode. I'm telling you.
I'm going to watch it. I didn't know it was out already.
It's like they backed up an entire freight train full of grapefruits. I'm telling you. It's like...
But that's probably the feel, man. When you get a first ballot Hall of Famer come in the building, it probably changes everything.
Oh, for sure.
Then we got Brian Flores getting another shot.
Yep.
He's not just a linebackers coach / assistant head coach anymore. He's the defensive coordinator of the Vikings.
Who, to be honest, had one of the worst defenses in the league last year.
Yeah.
Despite, the Vikings were such a funny team. They had 13 wins, but they had a -3 point differential.
Yeah.
Which is why everybody thought they were fake and they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. To me, this might be one of, if this works, this is going to be, if that works, the Vikings are going to win this division.
Yep.
This is where that division becomes difficult to predict, because I do think the Lions will continue their momentum from last year, but I have a feeling they're not going to be as good as everyone thinks they're going to be. And the Vikings are still a good football team. They still have Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Okay.
And they still have Kirk Cousins.
Who, say what you will about Kirk Cousins, but he puts up 3,000, 4,000 yards a season every year.
Yep. And Cook's backup was good too.
And they got that other, what's the rookie they got? Jordan Addison, who was great in college, and he is going to benefit from Justin Jefferson getting double teamed all the time. He's going to have man coverage every game.
And that's all offense we're talking about. But defense,
Yeah.
I have seen. First of all, I want to say, listening to that Mike Tomlin, or watching that Mike Tomlin interview with, what are they called? Ryan Clark and them, those guys' podcast. They interviewed Mike Tomlin, and it was like, oh shit, you get to hear this guy talking. I was ready to go run through a wall for him watching that. And the way he spoke about Brian Flores made me think whatever team goes after that guy is smart. Because you have one of the top coaches in the league who was like, I can't, if you want to coach, you can coach with me because I can't let you get away.
Right.
And it made me think the Vikings are smart for taking him. And I saw what he did with people off the street with the Dolphins that year when they were supposed to get the number 1 pick in the draft. And they fucking took out just came in strong at the end. So I'll be surprised if they're still a bottom tier defense.
I'm kind of hyped for I got on the Vikings train last year, and had a lot of fun because they were
fake news last year a little bit.
I feel that there is a kinship between the Vikings and the Falcons. We have a shared history of failure. We have a shared history of disappointment.
Yeah.
And I feel like I understand Vikings fans.
Yeah.
And because 2 years ago they went from the team that lost all of their one-score games, and then the next year they won all of their one-score games, and they were must-see TV all year last year because the largest comeback in NFL history. They were down 33-0 at halftime. It's like crazy.
Speaking of the Falcons,
yes, let's speak of them.
Ryan Nielsen's your new coordinator.
New defensive coordinator. I'm fucking pumped about this, especially because Ryan Nielsen, we poached from the New Orleans Saints, who has they always have a great defense.
Yeah.
And we also stole a couple of their players, too, some of their defensive players. This guy, I think, he's going to change this football team. If the Falcons are a better team this year, I think it's probably going to have more to do with him than anyone.
Yeah, we'll see, man, because the Saints always trot out a good defense.
Because our run game is great, right? I don't know what to expect from Desmond Ridder. I really, really don't. Kyle Pitts is still a question mark.
But giving them the ball back in good positions and stuff like that is going to help.
Yeah, I'm super excited about Atlanta's defense this year.
Then we got a really veteran, well-known defensive coach, former head coach, is now is it D-line coach for the Browns?
Yep.
And that's Jim Schwartz. Having that guy in the room, in the building is good, man. We saw what he did as the Lions defensive coordinator in the past. Where he went, he was in the Eagles, right?
Yeah,
Eagles.
He was with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. It's like wherever he goes, that defense gets good. So, shout out to him, man. We'll see what he's going to do in Cleveland. I still kind of don't want Cleveland to have success, at least their offense.
Right.
I really want Deshaun Watson to fail. I hate to say it, but
I don't hate to say it. I feel the same way about the Browns this year that I felt about them last year. I want Deshaun Watson to fail, but I want Nick Chubb to ball the fuck out.
Then there's an overrated, in my opinion, situation, but we'll get to see. They are ripping the shit out of Kellen Moore. Are you? I'm tired of it already. I'm tired of it already, man. They're acting like Kellen Moore is gonna go in there and turn the Chargers into this fucking. Chargers already had a good offense.
Yeah,
they're acting like Kellen Moore is gonna come in there and just turn things around, as if the Cowboys had this fantastic, amazing offense. Cowboys was hit and miss offense, just like the Chargers hit and miss offense. I hope Kellen Moore falls flat on his face. I think he's overrated, and I'm tired of hearing about him.
We'll get into this in a couple of weeks because we're going to do a hot seat episode before
that motherfucking seat is hot.
We're gonna do a hot seat episode before the season starts. But for me, this reeks of like the final stage where your seat goes from warm to like flaming hot.
Oh, yeah.
Because Staley is obviously a defensive coach, or was a defensive coordinator before he became the head coach of the Chargers. The biggest problem the Chargers have is that their run defense is terrible. Mm-hmm. So firing your coordinators and bringing in somebody like that's like you're next.
Yeah.
If this doesn't work, you are next because you drafted Justin Herbert.
He didn't draft Justin Herbert.
Well, he didn't. You
inherited this guy.
You inherited Justin Herbert, who is clearly one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
And you've made, what was it, two just like ridiculous to say. Well, the year before they blew their chance to make the playoffs because they failed. They were so fourth down crazy, and they failed doing that. And
they
then
could have done the draw.
And then last year,
for the draw. Remember against the Raiders?
Yeah,
and then he made them like they were going to take the draw.
Well, that was the game where all you had to do was either win or draw, and they lost to the Raiders in overtime. Yeah. And then the next year, you play your starters in the final week of the season after you've already made the playoffs. Mike Williams gets hurt. You go and blow a 27-point lead to the Jaguars in round one. It's like, okay, this Kellen Moore thing. I mean, it's gonna.
And he's taking analytics like face value every time instead of considering.
Yeah. Brandon Staley's in trouble, but we'll get there.
And I think Kellen Moore is just gonna be a bust. I don't know, man.
We'll see.
He's got a punchable face too, man. Look at his face.
That's
a punchable face, man. Look at that shit.
You know he's fucking.
Yeah. He looks like he says, "Well, my dad.
Yeah.
My dad knows."
Yeah.
All right, so Moore's gone.
Yeah.
But Moore gets replaced by Brian Schottenheimer, who is the son of Marty Schottenheimer, a legendary coach.
Yep.
And but Mike McCarthy is going to call the plays.
Right.
So that's a big change for the Cowboys, and we'll see what happens because that's another change that's going to be like that's a hot seat change.
For sure. And this one I understand quite a bit in a way because it's like if you're Mike McCarthy. You realize
take your destiny in your hands.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, if I'm going to be on the hot seat, if I get fired, I'm going down doing it my way. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So smart.
Big change coming up here. Bill O'Brien is going to come in and replace the two. The two fired offensive coordinators. Bill O'Brien's coming back. You know how Patriots coaches do for the most part. They leave, they fail, and they come back.
Right.
Well, last year, they had the two failing coaches come back, and they made both of them offensive coordinators. And then that was a shit show. Poor fucking, I never thought I'd say this, but poor Mac Jones. Had to deal with that shit, man.
He was mad, too. Remember how pissed I was yelling at
man, can we throw the ball down?
Throw the goddamn ball! He's yelling at Matt Patricia.
Yeah. So now Bill O'Brien comes back. And he's been around.
Who would have thought that a guy who had never coached offense, Matt Patricia, a defensive coordinator, and what was it? Joe Judge wasn't he a special teams coordinator?
Yeah, special teams coordinator, defensive coach. Of course, it's simple math. Special teams coach plus defensive coach equals great offensive coach. Duh. Read the book of football math.
Oh Jesus.
So that didn't work out, and now Bill Belichick is going back to basics, bringing back Bill O'Brien. and is going to try to make Mac Jones the Tom Brady heir that he was supposed to be.
I don't expect this to work either because I don't believe in
it. It's not going to be worse.
I don't believe. No, I think it'll be better, but I don't believe it. I don't believe in their roster. I don't think they have the pieces.
I think the Patriots are going to have a top 5 defense in the NFL next year.
Sure.
Or this year. And I think it's not going to – they're just going to have to not fuck up. And
right.
Bill O'Brien's going to make sure that they, in the words of Bill Belichick, do their job.
Right.
And they'll be all right. As long as they don't have turnovers.
I mean, who's their top receiver is Juju.
Yeah.
Right? Who they got in the offseason. And they still have Ramondre Stevenson running the rock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We'll see, man. It's going to be more traditional. And
and they got Gesicki, too.
And they might not be trying to hide Mac as much as they were. It seemed like maybe they didn't believe in Mac or they didn't want to risk it last year. But they still had a top defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
The final one that we'll talk about, and it's not even because it's my team.
It's just literally because this is how it was listed.
Yeah, that's it. But a big change is my Miami Dolphins, man.
Yeah.
They brought in Vic Fangio. one of the top coaches of defensive minds in football history is now
and one of the
getting
most
paid more.
And one of the most copied coaches. This guy has had a true effect on the league writ large.
And now he's the defensive coordinator, and our coach, being the humble guy that he is allowing the defensive coordinator to make more money than him because he cares about winning only and no egos.
That's pretty cool.
And I think it's going to work out. And that's why I'm not so worried about Jalen Ramsey getting hurt, because Vic Fangio is Vic Fangio. And now, instead of this one-trick amoeba shit we were doing, it feels like it's going to be a straight-up smart and slash effectively aggressive team. So we're going to see, man. That defensive line is still the heart of the defense right now, with Christian Wilkins being the fucking beast of a machine that he is.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Only thing is it's a 3-4 core. I mean, it's more nickel nowadays. But we just need a couple more linebackers, possibly. I think that's what. Oh, no, my bad. It's not the last one, Vic Fangio.
Well, the one that's not on this list.
The Eagles, right? Because the Eagles lost Fangio. He was on their squad.
Well, okay, so...
And they had to replace him.
There's a couple of things that are not on this list. One is Shane Steichen from the Eagles is now coaching...
Right. That's the next one, yeah.
Isn't he...
He's a defensive coordinator. Did
he go to the... Which one went... Somebody went to the Cardinals.
They both did. Cardinals got the Steichen as their coach now, right?
Yeah.
And then they also brought someone else from the... they lost their offensive coordinator, too. The Eagles lost both offensive and defensive coordinators.
Right.
So they're going to have to figure that out.
And the one that's truly not on this list is Eric Bieniemy.
Oh, yeah.
With Washington.
Why is this not on there?
I don't know.
This dude gets overlooked in everything, man.
Totally.
I think it's fat phobia. I think it's
really?
because he's a fat guy. I really do, man.
You think it's a fat thing?
It's a fat thing.
He's fat and black.
He's fat and black, man. And then he's overshadowed by a future Hall of Fame coach. So it's just like, no, there's no way this fat black guy is coming up with all this stuff.
Doesn't stop. Andy Reid's fat. Mike McCarthy's
How long
fat.
did it take for Andy Reid to get, like, he had to win a couple Super Bowls before he really
Get some speck on his name.
Yeah, yeah, that's what Andy Reid was saying.
Put some respect on my name.
Mm-hmm.
That's Andy Reid's words. That's his interview right there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was the change. The Eagles losing those two offensive and defensive coordinator, and the Chiefs losing their offensive coordinator, which nobody's talked about as a possible drop off of losing.
Who did they elevate Matt Nagy to offensive coordinator at the Chiefs? He was the quarterback's coach.
Right. I think they did.
I think they might have.
I'm pretty sure
he's another guy who probably should never have been the head coach.
Right. Got it
maybe
too
he's
early,
just better off being a
coordinator, man.
Yeah.
That was like I don't know if you remember Mike Nolan back in the day.
Yeah.
He'd wear the suits.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a weird guy, but he got to be the coach of the 49ers, and it was way too early. And then he went back to D coordinator, and he always had a top defense wherever he went. So, yeah. That's sometimes you're just meant to be a coordinator, man. You're a fucking weirdo that doesn't really care about leading a group of people. Maybe it ain't your thing.
Maybe.
So, yeah. Shout out to Bieniemy down there. We'll see, because he's got one of the most iffy quarterback situations. But if they turn that thing into something down there in Washington, then... maybe he'll make his bid for an empty coach slot in a couple of years.
I mean, I would, Rivera's, his job is on the line too.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
You got new owners.
Yeah.
So I think Bieniemy took that job because he probably thought that was his, maybe it was his easiest path to becoming a head coach.
Yeah, he had to get out from under. He's giving everybody no excuse. He's like, all right, you're saying it's Andy Reid. All right, well, I'll go and be offensive coordinator.
There's already been a little bit of a controversy surrounding him. I don't know if you heard that. It was about a week or two ago. Ron Rivera was asked about Bieniemy, and in this interview, he had admitted that some of the players had come to him and complained that Eric Bieniemy is a little too intense. And it caused a bit of a backlash. And Rivera had to come out 24 hours later and say, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I misspoke."
Wow.
He's a great coach.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
Yeah.
Get Ron Rivera.
So we'll see. I don't know.
Did he do that last year too?
Maybe.
Didn't he overspeak about the quarterbacks? Remember that? When he had to come out and be like, you know what?
Well, that was where we got all of this shit.
Yeah.
And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah,
when he had to go defend Carson Wentz.
Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with Robert?
Have you seen?
He's had their brain surgery.
That's true. Have you seen the pictures of Carson Wentz working out? He's still a free agent. And
who's he working out with? Dalvin Cook?
Who knows? There's an image that popped up on the internet of him. He's wearing gear from the 3 teams that he played for. He's wearing Eagles shorts. He's wearing Colts jersey, and he's wearing what's the other team?
Commander's hat.
Commander's helmet or something.
Nose ring.
Yeah. I'm like, is that the best way to advertise yourself?
Oh, of course.
To wear all 3 of your failures in one photo? I don't know.
I'm going to speak my mind for a second.
Carson Wentz is trash. No,
yeah. Though I think he would make a viable backup for some teams. I mean, you look around, Joe Burrow tweaked his hamstring first week of training camp, and I was like, who's their backup? And I still don't remember.
Who's the backup?
I don't know. It was like
what team are you talking about?
For the
Commanders?
No. Joe Burrow for the Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals.
And it was like, oh shit, Burrow tweaked his hamstring. Like, who's going to play if he can't play? And it was like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, you could at least have somebody who's played in the league before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could be worse, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's all I got for the coaches. We wish all the coaches success. We hope somebody punches Kellen Moore in the face.
Not all of them.
Yeah, I don't want you. I'm just saying that, man. I hope Nathaniel Hackett falls flat on his face.
Yeah. Sure.
Just because it's the Jets. But I do feel bad. He seemed like a nice guy. Remember, he was bringing his kids to the press conference. Like, that's part of why you shouldn't be a head coach. Because it's another stupid-ass decision. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you doing? All right. That's all I got for the coaches. You got any more for the pod? We can wrap this thing up.
Well, I was just thinking about some of the rookies that I'm excited to take a look at. For me, obviously, I saw a little bit of Bryce Young for the Panthers. I think he played 1 or 2 drives.
Didn't he throw a dumb No.
He got the shit knocked out of him. The offensive line had like an emergency meeting after the game, apparently. Because it's like, this guy is tiny. And he's going to be in trouble. CJ Stroud had a rough...
Didn't he throw that sidearm interception?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Where you think you at, bro?
Yeah, Anthony Richardson had a weird start as well. That's going to be fascinating.
He's big as shit, man.
He's huge. A lot of people are predicting that he might be one of those like he's going to be a terrible as an actual football player. He's going to be terrible, but he might be really great in fantasy because he runs all the time. Like he might be like Justin Fields.
I was going to say
like he might throw 5 touchdown passes, but he'll run for like 4,000 yards or some shit.
I was watching Justin Fields. I was hoping to see him a bit, but they kept scoring on these screens. So I couldn't see him. I've been wanting to see him make progressions and throw downfield.
They say that's what they're going to do this year, but obviously in preseason they never show you exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
My guy Bijan Robinson in Atlanta has looked, again, it's practice.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, he's been as advertised. He's made a couple of, they're lining him up as a receiver sometimes. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Falcons are going to do because they've got these 3 running backs. Tyler Algier, who as a rookie quietly had like 1,000-yard season last year. And then, of course, you still got Cordarrelle, who nobody really knows what they're going to do with Cordarrelle.
His motherfucking back and shit.
I know. Are they going to line him up as a receiver or what they get? Because they don't have a lot of depth at receiver, so we'll see.
But Arthur Smith is still Arthur Smith, man.
True. Have you seen his mustache? Everyone's talking about his mustache. He grew a mustache, and now the whole team has decided to grow a mustache. And I think the guy from NFL Network, Kyle Brandt, is like, I am going to grow a mustache, and I'm not going to shave it off until the Falcons lose. I was like, well, they could lose in week 1.
You better start.
So you better start growing up. Jameer Gibbs, obviously great running back, very, very fast. Be interesting to see how good he is. Again, I mentioned Jordan Addison, wide receiver for the Vikings. That he's going to be, he might actually be the wide receiver who benefits the most this year, especially because Jefferson's going to be double teamed every time he's on the field. Dalton Kincaid is apparently the tight end that everybody thinks is going to break out for the Bills. Sam Laporta too. He was good in college. He's with the Lions, also a tight end. Luke Musgrave, tight end. There's a lot of good players. It's going to be interesting to see this guy. What about how has he worked out? Devon Achane for the Dolphins.
He's the talk of camp, but he's behind some people that are used to that system. So
yeah, because you still have
Jeff Wilson and we got
Mostert. But
Gaskin was looking great. That's the one bright spot from the game. The preseason game he was killing it.
But both Wilson and Mostert are pretty injury prone, so there's fairly good chance.
They're talking about Achane, and he can catch too and all that stuff. But he also missed a huge block that set up a pick 6 in that game. There's some receiver, some little guy, number 10. I forget what team he played for, but I saw him and he popped out to me. He had a 1-syllable last name. I can't remember, but I'll find him. I think it's Pope or something like that. He's a rookie. I was expecting him to be on that list.
Jackson Smith-Njigba is another. He's a wide receiver playing for the Seahawks. He's going to be interesting to see if I don't know how well he's going to factor in because he's going to have to obviously be number 3 to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But he was good in college too. Obviously, the Eagles' defense with all these Bulldogs. I'm interested to see Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. All those guys who they drafted the year before too, who didn't play much. Cam Smith they have listed here, cornerback for the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, they're talking about him.
He's pretty good.
He was getting cooked in that Falcons game. They were going after him.
Oh, was he? I'm interested to see.
He was there though. It was like he was there, and it was just like great passes.
Here's a name to remember in case Jared Goff gets injured. The Lions' backup quarterback is rookie Hendon Hooker. This guy led like one of the most deadly air raid offenses in college football last year, playing for Tennessee. This guy is just going to chuck it. He's going to chuck it downfield every chance he gets. He's pretty fast too. He's hard to tackle.
Okay.
And then the other one who, other than my man, former Bulldog Stetson Bennett, he's going to get meaningful snaps. It's only a matter of time before Matthew Stafford gets hurt. It's going to be very fascinating. But the last rookie that I wanted to talk about, which I'm really, really rooting for, I just read about this morning. Chargers rookie CJ Okoye played in a preseason game. He gets a sack against my man, former Bulldog Stetson Bennett, in his first ever football game he's ever played in his entire life. This guy made it into the NFL through the International Pathway Program. He's from Nigeria, and he went to the combine in London, and he got an invite to work out for different teams, and he's on the roster with the Chargers.
Is he related to Christian Okoye?
I read the article and it didn't say anything about that, and because I wondered the same thing.
Remember that
the
big
Nigerian
motherfucker?
Nightmare?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, with those big ass shoulder pads.
Yes.
He looks like he's got a building on his shoulders. But this kid had literally never played an organized game of football until this preseason game against the Rams, and in his first game, he gets a fucking sack.
Wow.
And there's a video of all the players had said before the game that if this dude gets a sack, we're going to get a 15-yard penalty for excessive celebration because we're going to be going nuts on the sideline.
Wow, he must be raw fucking, wow.
Just a raw talent guy who comes out of nowhere, never played organized football, has managed to scratch his way into the NFL all the way from Nigeria.
1 year, god damn.
He's only been playing football for a year.
That's insane, man. I
really,
still got a shot. Man.
We can make the league. I mean, you got to root for this guy.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
He's my new favorite player.
My new favorite, too, man. That's my vote for Rookie of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year. Never been here. Comeback.
Showing you motherfuckers how easy it is. Yeah, that's right. Give it to him.
You the real MVP.
Oh, man. Well, shout out to the rookies. I hope they do well, unless they play for the Bills or the Jets or the
unless
Patriots.
you're Bryce Young. I hope Bryce Young gets absolutely pounded
wow,
into the center of earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's been it, man. It's been good to be back. I'm glad we got to sit next to each other. No telling how many times we get to do that this season. But I'm glad that you could be here.
It's good times, baby. Good times.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for listening, man. We're glad to have y'all back.
Run through a motherfucker face.
Yes, man. What? Why? Why though?
Then you don't have to worry about them no more.
That's right. That's how we're coming into the new season.
Yep, we're running through your face, man. We're going to try to bring more stuff to you, man. And we appreciate y'all, the Patreon subscribers, patreon.com/SveNFL.
Yeah, we got Fantasy Draft coming up.
Fantasy Draft is going to be on September 3rd. Both drafts. We got the relegation league as well. It's going to be after the regular league draft. Sorry for those teams that got dropped out. And congratulations to the winner. You win 2,000 crowns. So
that's right.
Which is roughly $200 for those of you that we got some Americans playing too.
And also, I think I posted on the Facebook page. I relaunched the Pigskin Pick'em
I gotta get in there.
thing that we can all join and make our picks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That you won last year, right?
No, I think I don't. Did I win it? Oh, I did. I won it on the last week of the season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you won. Pigskin.
How did I forget that?
I don't know, man.
It's
because
about
you're so
me.
modest.
You know,
humble.
it's all. I win so much
in life.
and I actually have a new. I didn't realize that you could do this, but the other day, my daughter inspired me. I downloaded a new ringtone that I wake up to, and I realized I was able to a ringtone from my phone.
For your alarm, yeah.
But I also realized I could set it as my alarm. And yesterday was the first day that I woke up to this ringtone. And I can tell you, waking up to that song at 7 a.m., it's a little jarring.
It's a great song.
It's a great way to start your day.
All I do is win.
It's a great way to start your day. I gotta admit, I'm 2 days into waking up to all I do is win, and I feel like a new man.
Just a winner. I like it, man. That's a great tip for y'all out there.
Yeah.
Listen to All I Do Is Win. When
Fake it till you make it, y'all.
Fake
Come
it
on.
till you make it. I listen to DMX. Here we go again.
Oh, that's not a good way to start.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think of the opposite. Opposite energy is DMX. Here we go again. Man. Well, thank y'all again, man. This is it's been fun. It's always fun. And as always, it's been Jonathan Rollins.
And it's Give Me Sarah.
Doing our thing with SveNFL. We'll catch y'all very soon. We'll be back every week, once a week.
Yeah.
And then once the season gets kicked off, we're going to be here twice a week talking about everything. So stay tuned. Tell a friend. And we'll catch y'all. Thank y'all so much. Peace.
Later, y'all.